Who could this be? Who could this be? A. Buchanan. A. Buchanan. I have no idea.
Bruce?
Yeah,
Bruce?
I'm Bruce Buchanan. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Bruce, it's me. One moment. Okay, one moment, this technology. All right, here I come. Bruce, hello.
You are.
Well, I'm Anna Flanner Buchanan, the very same.
No, I can't get a telephone call from my great grandmother who's been gone since the 1940s. It just isn't possible.
The world is a mysterious place, and I called in a big favor so that I could come and wish you happy 140 years. I can't imagine.
Well, you do look a little bit like her, but I'm just going to have to ask you a couple of questions if you don't mind.
Oh my. All right.
What was your second son's middle name?
Paul's middle name was Hyde. He was named
Hyde.
our minister at the time.
Oh, okay. Well, a lot of people might be able to find that out before they called someone out of nowhere.
Oh, sure.
Maybe you could tell me about a certain fabric in the family that's been around for a while. Nobody can get this.
You mean the baptismal gown that we acquired that's been in our family for generations from the May family? So many of our family were baptized in that gown. Do you still have it?
Yes, grandmother, I do. I would never let anything happen to that, but it's not in very good condition. We had to get it framed and preserved.
Well, that's lovely. I'm glad to hear you're taking good care of these important pieces for our family.
But we had an expert look at that, and he may have talked to you about this fabric, so you may have known about that.
What, one moment, young man. Is that my picture behind you on that shelf? The picture that I painted? And that's one of my plates. Oh, in a little jar. Oh, they've held up well.
How am I going to explain this to people? They're not going to believe me, but it has to be you. It just has to be you.
It is me. Now, well, you now, young man, tell me about you. Now, how do I know now? Who are you?
Well, I am your great grandchild, and I think you might know a little bit about Paul Jr., my father, right?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. But tell me about my son. How did my son do running the business?
50 years of incredible service, not only to the business and the profession, but to the community. He helped his church grow and move. He got involved in Goodwill when it first started and became their president for 20 years. So if there ever was a stellar stand-up citizen in our city, I think it was your son and my grandfather. I'm so proud of him and everything that he accomplished. And he set a great example for us in the business. So many things we do today were established by him or by Charles. It's just a wonderful legacy.
It truly is. I'm so happy to hear that. I'm so happy to hear that everyone has embraced the business, and I want to hear so much more about it. But I just thought, whatever happened to Janet?
Janet Flanner, you mean the famous journalist?
Yes. Well, when last I knew, she was in Paris, of all places, hobnobbing with the likes of Ernest Hemingway, writing a column, just hanging around artists. It was quite a life she'd chosen for herself. And I've always wondered how she turned out, though, she did write that article about Hitler in the 30s, and I couldn't believe how prescient that was. So she was an innovator, I suppose. How is she? What happened?
Well, she wrote that column in the New Yorker for 50 years.
Oh, my.
And is celebrated as one of the greatest journalists out of Indiana and really nationally. And you might notice on the shelf behind me, there's a book. Someone wrote a very well-known book about her, and there are people today writing plays about Janet's
Oh
life.
my goodness. Well,
So
that
she became famous.
marvelous. Marvelous. Now, okay, so now Charles and Frank, they started 2 national funeral organizations. Innovators,
Yes, Grandma.
are you continuing to innovate?
We are doing our best because they put it in the culture of our business. So one of the biggest things that I'm proud of is how we really have transitioned our funeral homes into more hospitality and event centers, because people want to celebrate life now in a little different way than when you were with us. So we need to keep up with the times and evolve, but that's one of the biggest.
Wow, that's wonderful. And how about community engagement?
Well, you set the standard as a Sunday school teacher and on the Senate Women's Association.
Yes.
But we have a graphic in our business with over 300 names of organizations, churches, community groups, schools that we've either contributed to or been involved in. And some of those names were groups that you were with.
Oh, that is tremendous to hear. I can't tell you how happy that makes me to hear. But now listen, also, I don't even know now when there was one location, and here we are 140 years later. So what has happened? What has happened?
Well, I don't want you to get too excited, but we are now up to 17 locations.
Oh my goodness.
So we have bought other funeral homes, or we have built new locations in other areas of the city. And there's one in particular I want to tell you about, because remember when Charles used to take you to the family farm out on East Washington Street?
Of course I do. Of course I do. Just
did he let you ride horses out there?
Oh, yes.
Oh. Well, that location is now a cemetery and a funeral home, and we have a community life center there where we do weddings.
Well, that sounds magnificent. It just warms my heart to think of that land being utilized to support so much of the community through all the stages of life. That warms my heart.
Well, the thing that I love and what I do and what we have done for generations is I like to say we connect circles. And it's lives that have been lived. It's institutions that we connect and work for, and so many things that you did and Charles did serving in the Senate. All of those things have built our culture to serve, and it's very special. And I feel so honored, and to finally meet you. I mean, you pulled it all together, young lady. Well, thank you.
I knew a thing or two.
Do you have any questions for me?
You know, I do have a burning question. Who won World War II?
Oh, Grandma.